This will be three-part video compilation. In the first part you will get many of your questions answered, which you asked me in a previous video. In second part you will get full evocation tutorial of how to summon King Paimon and meditation to connect with him. And the third part will be older meditation from this channel dedicated to King Paimon, which many of you will find useful. I will also upload new evocation and meditation to King Paimon really soon on this channel, so enjoy watching this video compilation, guys, and enjoy answers to your questions. So this is a video in which I will answer your questions, as promised, about King Paimon. I will answer all of the questions in this video, including those questions asked by clients. So there are a lot of questions, so I will try to answer all of them in a single video. Some of them will be such elaborate questions that I will need a further elaboration, so some of those questions will need a separate video on its own. But in this video I will definitely answer many questions you asked in the last video about Paimon, and let's continue. So what are the basics information about King Paimon? So he is one of the 9 demonic kings of the Goetia. He teaches all arts and sciences, knows past, present and future, and he rules over many legions of spirits. His cardinal direction is the west. In some grimoire hierarchies he is known as the King of the West. He is the ruler of Shadim and Jinn. His legions are mostly comprised of Jinn, but he also rules the Shadim. So I make a distinction between Jinn and Shadim. Jinn are technically nature spirits who reside in nature. But also many of the Jinn reside in celestial realms, and many of the Jinn reside in infernal realms. All of the Jinn have in common that they originate from Jan, father of the Jinn. If you want to know more about Jan, father of the Jinn, you can contact White Magic Mastery and Ninivek Shadrach, who teaches secrets of Jan, father of the Jinn. I personally don't work with the Jan, father of the Jinn, but Jinn are the descendants of Jan, father of the Jinn, while Shadim are the descendants of Samael and Lilith. So all of the spirits we know as demons are mostly Shadim, descendants of Samael and Lilith, and different offspring created from the offspring of Samael and Lilith, while the Jinn are descendants of Jan, father of the Jinn, and his sons. So Paimon is not Shadim. He is not what we consider demon. He is a Jinn. Actually, many spirits we consider demons are actually not the offspring of Samael and Lilith. Many spirits we consider demons are actually Jinn. And since lore of Prophet Suleiman or King Solomon originates in the Middle East, a majority of spirits which originate from the Middle East are actually Jinn and not Shadim. Majority of spirits we consider to be Shadim, aka offspring of Samael and Lilith, are not offspring of Samael and Lilith, they are Jinn. So we need to keep in mind that Christian moniker of demon is not adequate because it literally doesn't mean anything. When we in Christian tradition call something a demon, it simply means that Christian theology deems certain spirit to be, how I could say, adversarial to the concepts of their doctrine. Concept of demon doesn't mean anything. So I use the word demon for my own audience because my audience is familiar with the term, but it doesn't mean anything and it doesn't adequately describe what we are actually dealing with. The second question is what King Paimon can teach. I already gave a short overview of what he can teach. He can teach sorcery, arts and sciences, and he knows past, present and future. He is also really skilled at manipulation, and he can teach jinn magic, especially satanic sorcery. However, nobody truly knows the depth of knowledge King Paimon possesses. We as humans are not as old and knowledgeable as the jinn are. Therefore, any human who claims that he knows what particular jinn can teach is simply delusional. Because there is a difference between us and the sons of John, father of the jinn. There is a really significant difference, of course, in the fact that we possess a physical body, and one of the key differences is the fact that jinn are made of the smokeless fire, aka they are etheric, non-physical beings, and we have a physical bodies, aka we are made of clay, aka physical matter. That's one of the main differences. But there are also other differences. We possess divine spark, which is made in the image of the creator, while the jinn possess some form of what we call the divine spark, but they do not possess it in the same quantity and quality as we humans do. They possess it to a lesser extent. I wouldn't say that they don't possess it at all. I will simply say that they possess it to a lesser extent. So there is another question asked, which is, what is his female aspect and what are my experiences with his female aspect? So, if you don't know, jinn are shapeshifters, which mean that jinn can shift genders. Paimon can also shift genders. My experience is that his female aspect knows the same things as his male aspect. The only difference is that his female aspect is more gentle and a little bit easier to approach. However, I am honestly not competent enough to give enough information on his female aspect. I really need to do more research. So, another person asked step by step evocation and invocation of King Paimon. So I will make King Paimon invocation meditation really soon. As for evocation, I already covered it in a future video, and that video will be fused with this one into one singular clip, so you can watch it all and you can apply it. Another question is, what is the relationship between Paimon and science and art and how he can teach those things? Well, this question is a little bit uninformed in my personal opinion, because this question undermines the abilities and powers of the jinn. Jinn, most of the time, in the case of beginner practitioners, use our own minds to telepathically communicate and give us certain information. As I previously said, King Paimon is really knowledgeable regarding art and sciences, and he really can help the individual to learn those matters. The next question is as follows. I am suffering from difficulties with learning. Can Paimon help my intellectual capabilities to new and unnatural degree? So this is a little bit controversial question. To the first aspect of the question, I will say yes, he can definitely help you with the learning issues. However, with the second question, I will say the following. You have born natural intelligence within you. And what Paimon can do is he can push that natural intelligence you possess to the maximum. However, he cannot push you beyond the natural maximum which you possess as an individual. However, the good news for people who watch this video is that majority of us do not utilize our natural intelligence to the full extent. So, for example, if you are absolutely mentally retarded individual, now in this clip I do not imply that person who asked this question is retarded. I think you are all really intelligent guys, and that's why you are attracted to King Paimon and his teaching, because he mostly attracts really intelligent people. But if somebody is really mentally deficient or has damaged brain, there is no way Paimon can increase his intelligence. If you have IQ of 45 to the point you cannot solve basic things due to mental retardation, which is a medical condition, Paimon cannot help. What he can do is he can take you as an individual and he can increase your intellectual capacity to the natural maximum. And as I said previously, he can definitely help with learning. So the next question is Paimon a good choice for somebody to start satanic sorcery? I would say yes, he is a really good choice for that. However, one needs to be aware of the dangers of satanic sorcery and radical dream magic before starting such an endeavor with Paimon. You'll see Paimon has 3 modes. He has 3 ways he approaches people. So what we mostly see as King Paimon in the occult community is not actually who he really is. Let me explain. So every spirit has an interface. What I mean by that? The interface of the entity is kinda weaker, light version of themselves. They present to the newer practitioners in order to not overwhelm them, so that they can start and they can learn the basics. Spirits really do this for the purpose of not killing their students. Because if they showed to us humans trapped in a clay to their full power and potential, what would happen most of the time is we would die immediately. A majority of the humans either go insane or die if they see full power of the jinn too quickly, too intensely. So that's the reason he kinda has that light version of himself, which is the thing you will find in the occult community. So that talkative, nice guy who always guides beginners and answers every question, that's technically that light version of Paimon. However, if you really tell him, hey Paimon, I wanna learn satanic sorcery, what he will do is he will teach you some basic jinn magic. And then he will tell you to stay away from satanic sorcery as a human, to his taste. The reason why he does it is, technically, when people say satanic sorcery, they most of the time don't know what they are talking about. So let's first define who are the shayateen, right? When people say shaitan and shayateen, what they are referring to. Okay. So technically, King Paimon is really close to Lucifer. Everybody knows it. But King Paimon is also extremely close with Iblis Shaitan. And Shayateen, they are technically personal guard and personal army of Iblis Shaitan. And they are specific type of spirit. They are specific type of jinn, and they are separate from other jinnic types and races. So when we are really discussing Shayateen, we are discussing a race of the jinn. We are discussing a race of spirits which are extremely warlike, extremely destructive, and extremely powerful, and also extremely knowledgeable. But the radiance they radiate as spirits can really easily kill you or severely harm you if you are not prepared for it. Let me explain this. You need to perform certain alchemical operations in order to be capable of summoning and working with the Shayateen. Therefore, Paimon will force you to learn those basics. First, she will force you to pass intense alchemical transformation in order to work with those entities. What I will also say for the purpose of this video is that Paimon is really good if you want to learn business, if you want to learn trading, and if you want to learn, if you want to increase your finance. However, he does it slower than majority of spirits. What Paimon can do on the astral plane? That's the next question. And can Paimon remove laziness and procrastination? Question number 8. Can he remove laziness and procrastination? The answer is yes, he can. However, he will severely discipline the student, and that will be not so easy for the student. He is a really harsh mentor sometimes. But he is also really kind and compassionate in many instances. What can Paimon do on the astral people? Paimon is a king of the jinn. He is one of the more powerful king of the jinn out there. Asking what Paimon can do on the astral is like asking what President of United States can do on Earth. He can do so many things that I cannot even comprehend what he can do, right? And we will let that question there. What are the signs that he is in the life of an occultist? If you are severely attracted to him, if you see his sigil in dreams, if you see weird correspondences of numbers, if you see that somebody watching you in sleep, if you see heat in your room for no reason whatsoever, alongside the signs I mentioned, he is in your life. What kind of offerings he likes, and what are the meditations for connection with him? I kinda already said what he likes in previous videos. From offerings, he likes cakes, sweets, any form of artistic expression, and he also likes good wine. But he is not picky with offerings if you are his long-term devotee and his long-term student, so he will take pretty much anything when you build a relationship. But what he values are small gifts which have meaning to you as a person, which are the manifestation and expression of your artistic endeavors. I will add the question which isn't asked in this curriculum. And the question I will add, which isn't asked here, is how it is really easy or difficult to approach Paimon. And my response to this is the following. If you have any form of astral senses developed, and if you are capable of rising the sacred space, King Paimon will answer your call. He is really not picky regarding answering the calls of the magicians. But when we talk about serious study, you need to do some really extreme things for him to actually allow you to go deep and to study under him. For initial interface, he will accept everyone, but if you actually want to learn from him actual meat and potatoes, that's hard. That's actually really hard. I am just starting to grasp his mysteries and study after 6 years of practice. In those 6 years of practice, I worked with him on and off for most of my practice. I would be honest and tell to my audience, this channel is called Legend of Lilith. But realistically, I work with Paimon more than I work with Lilith. When I say this, I mean that I work with Paimon longer than I work with Lilith. However, I think that Lilith still had bigger influence on my spiritual evolution. But Paimon kinda returned big time in my life and I cannot ignore it, so that's the reason why I am filming this video. So the next question is, can he help in magic, divination and protection, and what are other things he can help with? He can help with magic, he can help with divination, he can help with protection. What I also advise you to ask him for help is, you should ask him to really teach you how to use people in your life to your benefit. The best thing you can ask Paimon for is to manipulate people and circumstances. When he does so slowly but extremely efficiently. There are also 4 questions I received from the client, and they will also be answered in this video. The certain person has certain individual in her life or in his life, because I will not reveal the gender of the person. So the client who hired me has a certain person in his life, which is technically the person asks me, can my client heal somebody who is, how can I say this without sounding like uncompassionate individual? I was asked, can my client heal somebody who is technically medically insane? I will give honest and harsh answer to this. In majority of cases, the answer to this question is no. If somebody is insane, if somebody is either mentally ill, severely ill, or mentally deficient, in those 2 cases, in 99.9% of the time, you can only alleviate symptoms. I do not want to give false hope to my audience, because there are many people out here in magical community who are selling the snake oil. Jinn are powerful, Shadim are powerful, but there are certain things which even they have difficulties dealing with. Human insanity is one of them. And now I will try to debunk certain misconceptions about the jinn. So, in majority of cases, insanity is not a product of jinn. It is a product of either human genetics or human behavior. In some rare instances, insanity happens due to spiritual possession. But I say rare instances for a reason. Exorcism works, and it banishes spirits and negative energies. But if person is insane due to some other non-spiritual reasons, which is probably the case here, I asked King Paimon for a response, and he said that healing is not possible. I am giving this honest response because I do not want to give false hope to my audience. Next question is, should sacred space be closed? And this is kind of question I didn't bother to ask the spirit really, because this is question spirits shouldn't be asked. Okay? It doesn't depend on the spirit, it depends on what you want. So if you want to summon the entity, tell it what to do, and then don't deal with energy anymore. What you do is you raise the space, you summon the entity, and you close the space and banish. But if you want the entity to remain in your life long term, then don't banish. So it really doesn't depend on the entity, it depends on what you want. I was also asked, should the person clean his or her aura? And my answer to this is, not only this person should clean his or her aura, everyone should clean his or her aura, and I should also clean his or her aura more. Really fast and effective way to cleanse the aura is you burn some sandalwood and then you kind of smudge yourself with it. And what you do then is you visualize the black sun radiating black light above your crown chakra and penetrating your aura and burning away all of the negative energy within you. Use this methodology to purify your aura, and then what will happen is you will feel first fatigued, you will feel weakened, but if you hold the visualization, you will actually have the energy shock and you will feel empowered. You will clean your aura. And the last question I was asked is, did that particular person make the contact with King Paimon? And my answer to this is yes. I asked Paimon and he confirmed. As I said previously, he is really willing to reach out to people, but regarding deeper mysteries, you have to earn it. Today I will present to you introductory hymn for calling of King Paimon. Ideally, this hymn should be recited 7 days in a row, 3 times every day, to attract attention of King Paimon before you start calling him and begin working with him. Now, this hymn I present in this video also can be used before every work with King Paimon. This hymn should be repeated thrice in order to empower the working. This hymn itself should attract the presence and attention of demonic King Paimon to you, or Genic King, for me to be specific. So, use this hymn, empower yourself, and receive the knowledge of King Paimon. Of course, as always, when working with King Paimon, seriously, you should have astral senses developed to a degree, but King Paimon can also develop your astral senses. So, listen to the hymn, repeat it, and empower yourself, and use it as intended. Paimon Magnus Rex et vitrachan Paimonia halatraha inuhitean mehena iti etehe klehuirun hateha tahita enainaiha virete Paimonia tahateha Paimonius Rex ene Paimon Magnus Rex etehie vitrahan Paimonia halatraha initean mehena iti etehe klehirun hateha tahita enainaiha virete Paimonia tahateha Paimonius Re. Today we will present to you a full evocation guide to Jin, Sultan, King and mighty warlord King Paimon. We will explain how to summon him and also dispel many misconceptions about this powerful being who saved my life in the past. As a tribute to him for saving my life and giving me enormous knowledge, I am filming this evocation guide, which is completely suitable for beginners. It will include astral senses development exercise, raising of the sacred space, evocation technique, and how to dismiss King Paimon after evocation is done. Enjoy, and at the end of this procedure we will also dispel some very wrong rumors and slander regarding King Paimon. So proceed to the first step, which is astral senses development exercise. So the first astral senses development exercise is simple. Simply look at the candle until you become hypnotized by the candle flame. Relax when looking at the candle. Do not focus on specific details of the candle or try to predict the movement or focus on anything. Just relax and look at the candle. After some time, candle will start to move slowly and to expand a little bit and then contract a little bit. If that happens periodically, then it means that you are slowly falling into alternate state of consciousness. When that starts happening, start visualizing black ray coming out of your third eye into the candle flame. That will greatly empower your astral senses, looking at the candle flame together with the visualization. This will also train you for the next thing you will see later in the video. This will also train you for opening of portals in general and opening of gateways through similar technique. So next astral senses development exercise is also simple. Visualize black sun in front of your third eye, penetrating your third eye with its black rays. Visualize it until you feel headache. After you feel headache, relax a little bit, breathe slowly, and then visualize again the black sun standing in front of your third eye, penetrating your third eye with the black rays. After you have the headache again, pause again until you have 5 repetitions. This exercise is also extremely powerful in opening your astral senses, and this is one of the strongest astral senses development exercises referred many times on my channel. So if you truly want to develop your astral senses, do those 2 exercises for half of an hour a day each for 3 weeks, and then proceed to summon King Paimon. If you already have astral senses developed, then you can skip those 2 exercises. But if you do not have astral senses developed, please practice those 2 exercises half of an hour each for 3 weeks before starting to summon anything. Now it is time for me to give you the method for raising of the sacred space. Imagine black sun above your crown chakra, radiating black light and penetrating the edges of your sacred space until you can feel mix of black and red energy rising from the edges of the space. Hold the visualization until you can feel permanently the energy rising from your space and protecting you from all hostile and outside influences. While you visualize, so vibrate the magical chant Magurit. This magical chant is extremely powerful together with this visualization if you want to summon any form of jinn or dark spirit. Now, after you rose the sacred space, I recommend this chant with exorcistic properties. The purpose of this chant is to banish additionally all of the negative spirits, entities or energies which attached themselves to you as an operator or reside within the space around you. Now, magical chant is as follows. Paimon exorcizo diavoli. You will see the chant on the screen. Repeat the chant with intention to banish all of negative entities and energies from yourself and the space you are doing the ritual in. Now, this is my advice for reciting the chant. Do not focus on repetition on the chant, focus on your intention to remove all of entities and energies negative to you from the space and yourself, and repeat the chant mechanically. Focus just on intention. So now, after we discussed exorcism and chant for banishing evil spirits with Paimon, and after you feel completely clean of all negativity through this chant, it is time for us to discuss conjuration of Paimon himself. Now, I have one important thing to tell you regarding exorcism. When you start repeating chant, maybe you will feel strong urge to stop repeating, or you will feel strong urge to be in fear or be in panic or start doing something else. That's a clear sign that something is attached to you and it tries to prevent you from banishing spirits which are harmful. So if you have any urge to stop doing the exorcism chant, just ignore the urge, focus on intention to banish all negativity, and repeat chant mechanically until you feel the vibration of the space changed and everything is clean completely. Then proceed to use the sigil. Now, how sigils are used? That's the question. A lot of people have entire books written on the sigils, and theories and proxies and how some sigils should be done in gold and some sigils in silver, etc., etc. But really, work with sigils is much simpler than it sounds. You simply draw the sigil of King Paimon, which is the one you see on the screen. You prepare it beforehand, and then when you raise the sacred space and do the exorcism chant, then you relax and just stare at the sigil without focusing on it. Stare at the sigil and be relaxed until the lines of the sigil start slightly flashing or blurring or blinking, but just slightly. It won't be anything spectacular. And then when it starts flashing or blurring or blinking a bit, then it's a sign that gate is opening and that seal is starting to work as a gateway. Now, when that happens, weird shift in the room will happen. You will feel red, fiery energy coming out of a sigil and pushing into your space. When that happens, know that energy of the spirits and energy of King Paimon himself is coming through, and that's when you should recite the evocation of King Paimon. I call you Paimon, I call you Paimonius, I call you Paimon, I call you Paimonia. Come in the name of Suleiman Abdul Ifrit. Come in the name of Hassan Abdul Ghul. Come in the name of old rebellious one. Repeat this conjuration over and over again until presence of King Paimon solidifies in the room. You will see the text of the conjuration on the screen, and once the presence of King Paimon solidifies, so it builds up and you cannot deny it, then start giving your requests to the Spirit and working with the Spirit. King Paimon is good for teaching all kinds of arts and sciences, bringing money, and manipulating people to do your bidding. He is also good in granting knowledge of the planets, opening astral senses, balancing you with all of 5 elements, teaching advanced form of dark alchemy, enhancing the mind, improving the trade deals, and he is also excellent for beginners due to his good temperament and kind-hearted nature. Now, he shouldn't be called for love spells in any circumstance, but he is really good regarding curses, and he also shouldn't be called for healing in any circumstance. He is terrible at healing. However, if you need a change of the mindset, he is ideal spirit to work with. So, there is one final note regarding evocation in general. Conjuration should be memorized before the ritual, and conjuration should be repeated mechanically once you reach the phase of the ritual in which conjuration is indeed repeated, after the sigil is opened. While reciting your conjuration, you should focus on your intention to summon the spirit, instead of the number of repetitions. Repeat it as much as possible, while energy of the spirit builds up. That's the reason why you focus on intention to summon a spirit and mechanically repeat the conjuration. In order to build the energy of the spirit up and drop your rational mind, so your higher psychic and spiritual faculties can be activated. Development of astral senses beforehand also ridiculously increases your ability to feel and communicate with the spirit. That's the reason why you received astral senses development exercises at the beginning of this clip. Now, After you build up the energy of the spirit and give the spirit your requests, it is recommended to give King Paimon small offering. But offering should be small and symbolic, nothing spectacular. He likes wine, cakes, sweet poetry, and he likes any work of art. But if you cannot offer him anything, simply thank him and focus on a feeling of gratitude. That will be enough for him. He isn't demanding. But there is one thing which will be told to you at the end of this video. Thing which will be greatly appreciated by King Paimon and not difficult for you. Now, you don't have to do a thing suggested at the end of the video, but it is recommended. Now, after you conjured the spirit and after you gave him your request and after you definitely finished everything you should, relaxed and meditate with the energy of the spirit for some time. If spirit still doesn't leave in 10 to 20 minutes and he kinda still works on your energy body and with your energies, it is my advice to first, ask him why he's there. And if he kinda doesn't wanna tell you, or if you don't want him there anymore, recite this license to depart. With dignity I command you to leave Paimon. With dignity I command you to leave Paimonia. With dignity I command you to leave Paimonius. With dignity and respectfully and willingly I command you to leave Paimon. I call you to leave in the name of Suleiman Abdul Ifrit. I call you to leave in name of Hassan Abdul Ghul. I call you to leave in the name of the old rebel. Repeat this conjuration over and over with intention for Paimon to leave. After some time, Paimon will leave and then rise the sacred space once again, and with that end the ritual. So now we will talk about the last part of this video, which is opening a gateway for demonic King Paimon, temporary or permanent depending on your choice. I will give methodology for opening both types of gateways. You see, we need to discuss one thing. A lot of people think that spirits are interacting with them for their own sake, for the sake of them, for the sake of humans, for the sake of operators. And that's not true. Spirits are operating in this realm and in all other realms for two reasons. First reason is that they have a purpose they are created with, and the second reason is that they have their own agenda. So spirits have their own agenda and they work with you in order to fulfill that agenda, and they work with you in order to be helped in fulfillment of that agenda they have. Now, in order for you to receive the true knowledge and help of King Paimon, you need to participate in his agenda. And the best way for you to participate in his agenda is to, open a gateway for him and his spirits to influence more people and energies and realms. And I will show you a method how to do so. Summon King Paimon through the instruction given in this video. And then say to him in this manner: "O great King Paimon, Lord of the Jinn, who rules over Ifrits, who rules over Marids, and the wise among the ghouls, I call you upon to open up for you a gateway and participate in your agenda. You will indeed do me a favor by giving me all of your knowledge, all of your help, and all of your secrets from this point on as a payment for me opening this gateway. By the laws of the universe, spirits are indeed obligated to give us their secrets after they participate in their agenda. The gateways you open also can be programmed to fulfill your agenda too. So for example, let's say I want to become wealthier. I want to have a lot of money. I want to learn trading. I want to learn how to influence minds of others. I want to learn how to influence my own mind. I want to learn secrets of the universe. You see, I can program a gateway for King Paimon, which will invest part of energy they release directly into my goal. This is possible. But I will tell you how to do this right now. You summon King Paimon, and then you discuss all of the intricacies of opening the gateway. What is your intention with which you open a gateway? How much of energy from the gateway you want to invest in your own desires, and how much energy goes to Paimon and his agenda. How long will gateway will be opened? How will gateway be fed? Who will feed the gateway? Etc. My advice is to just discuss what is your plan for opening of the gateway, and he will then tell you what's his benefit from opening of the gateway. And then you open a temporary gateway, and this is a method how you open it. You tell King Paimon to send in your mind the image of the place where he wants the gateway opened. Then you visualize the black ray coming from your third eye into one point of that place you are seeing in your mind, until your third eye penetrates that space to the point where you see the portal in the space Paimon envisioned you, similar to the portal on the screen. Now, when you reach this point, you will probably feel heavy headache and you will be extremely exhausted. But the gateway will indeed be opened. Stop visualizing, and then you can do the following, which will transform the gateway from temporary into permanent. You can proclaim this: I give infinitely small piece of my divine spark and infuse it into this gateway, so it can return to me as a part of Black Sun and aid me in my magical evolution. I do this through the help of King Paimon and his associates. Proclaim this with a strong intention to make a gateway permanent, alchemically transform yourself, and unify with the mysteries of the spirit you created this kind of a gateway with. Making gateway in a temporary manner is enough for beginners. I recommend making permanent gateway only for elevated and experienced practitioners. There is no need to try to open this gateway if you don't have at least 5 to 7 years of daily occult practice, and if you are not deeply initiated into the mysteries of Paimon, and if you do not understand what his agenda is. You need first to understand what his agenda is in order to work on that agenda in a permanent manner, which will have long-term consequences. You can indeed open short temporary gateways for Paimon and you in the manner described in this video, and it won't be catastrophic at all for you nor anybody else. But if you want to open permanent gateway through the proclamation and methodology described, you first need to be extremely experienced, and second, you need to understand what that agenda is and what you are actually doing. Paimon is not as willing to keep his secrets as some other spirits. So after you open permanent or temporary gateway, he will bombard you with knowledge and wisdom of his mysteries. Some other spirits are not so willing to teach like he is. But there is one drawback to this. Let's say you open a gateway to Paimon with an intention of becoming rich. Now, there is a problem. You will become partially obsessed with your desire, and that can be a great burden for you, because that gateway will constantly push energy into you, which is programmed to help you to fulfill your desire. So my request and my advice is, after you fulfill desire through opening of the gateway, then close the gateway. Simply call King Paimon and proclaim that you command him to close the gateway, which fulfilled your request, and you want all of the energy you invested into the gateway back, and you request that in the name of Hassan Abdul Ghul, Sulaiman Abdul Ifrit, and the old rebel. Now, who are Hassan Abdul Ghul, Sulaiman Abdul Ifrit, and the old rebel? Those are 3 elders of the Jinnic races, which are not celestial in nature. Those are 3 extremely powerful spirits. All of the Jinn know and respect. When you recite this conjuration, you indeed do not summon the elders, because summoning the elders is completely different form of magic altogether. I think working with them transcends the meaning and implications of magic. I think working with those elders transcends the definition of magic, and it becomes something much greater. I personally worked with those elders, and I wasn't ready to accept their mysteries at all. What they taught me is something I'm still trying to comprehend. Human mind simply isn't programmed to grasp the mysteries of those old beings. I will give you a short introduction to 2 of those elders, and about the 3rd elder, the old rebel, which is the leader of the married race of the Jinn. You should ask King Paimon. I am not allowed to reveal his name,
nor his characteristics. So if you're really interested about who Old Rebel is, you should call Paimon and ask him to give you the information I am forbidden to reveal. But about Suleiman Abdul Ifrit and Hassan Abdul Ghul, I am allowed to speak. And I will indeed in my future videos on the jinn when the time comes. When jinn tell me to reveal, I will. Now, they didn't told me, only Hassan Abdul Ghul was interested in revealing, but I wasn't interested in working with Hassan, so I didn't make the video. And Mysteries of Hassan were, to be honest, something too heavy for me. Those genic elders are stronger than Samael, considerably, and if we know that Samael can solo entire infernal hierarchy below him, then you understand what kind of completely different animals we are dealing when we talk about those genic elders. Now, pronouncing their names and the title of the Old Rebel. By the way, when I say the Old Rebel, I do not refer to Iblis. When the jinn I talk about revolted against the celestial Godhead, Iblis wasn't even conceived. So the Old Rebel is somebody much more powerful and much more stronger than Iblis. But I'm not allowed to speak about him publicly. The only thing I can do is I can tell you to, summon King Paimon and ask him about Hassan Abdul Ghul, Suleiman Abdul Ifrit, and the Old Rebel. To ask him about 3 genic elders, because he is the one who revealed to me the existence of those 3 elders. And ask him. It is not my responsibility nor ability to teach you about them. I am not competent to teach you about those jinn. And if you really want to tap into mysteries of the jinn, first you need to realize that you shouldn't bow to them. You are equal to them. Jinn are not superior to the sons of Adam. Jinn are not superior to humanity. Jinn have more knowledge, but we have more potential. Average human has much more potential than the average jinn or other astral entity. But problem is, we do not unlock that potential, we do not work with that potential, we do not seek to empower ourselves, which creates problems for us and for the jinn, and for other spirits who are not jinnic in origin. So, what I can say is work with King Paimon, open astral senses, possibly open him permanent or temporary gateways so he is motivated to give you his true mysteries and secrets. By the way, Paimon is a little bit more ethical according to the human standards than other spirits, which means that if you constantly ask him for favors, she will do them longer than other spirits, and he won't manipulate you as much to give him offerings and things of that nature. But the thing is, every spirit, it doesn't matter is the spirit celestial, is the spirit terrestrial, is the spirit infernal. If you rely on them too much, they will overwhelm you. So you need to summon them to give you knowledge so you can do things yourself, so you can move energy yourself, so you can manifest things you want yourself. You need to ask them for practical advice, practical spells, practical things. And if you truly help them out, they will teach you the knowledge, the actual mysteries, and they will give you the secrets of the guide, or the guide the invisible world.
So today I will present to you one exercise with King Paimon for developing of astral senses. So for this exercise you should draw the symbol you see on the screen, the seal you see on the screen right now. So after you draw it, anoint it with blood and burn it. So let me explain right now. What's the symbol you see on the screen? The symbol you see on the screen is known as Seal of Dajjal. It is a seal which, when burned, attunes you to the energies of Jinn and Shayateen and opens your third eye. Now, after you anointed seal with blood and burned it, you will repeat together with me a magical chant which you will be able to read in description of this video, and you will also be able to hear me chanting it for more than 7 minutes. So, burn the seal and repeat the magical chant. The purpose of magical chant is to call upon King Paimon to open up your astral senses. It's a really powerful magical chant I used for a long time. So, repeat the magical chant. Paimon will arrive and open you up. Repeat it until energy becomes so intense that you cannot hold it anymore. After it becomes so intense that you cannot hold it anymore, meditate and stop chanting until the energy of King Paimon, the great king of the Jinn, dissipates from the room. After the energy dissipates, you will receive the instructions. But the instructions are at the end of this video. Right now, you should chant together with me for more than 7 minutes. Let's chant together. Om Garvai Paimoneshte Avitae. 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 Om Garvai
Paimon estea vitae, garvai. 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 Paimon estea vitae. So, we finished chanting together. Right now, you should draw the seal again. And after you draw the seal, burn it again to attune yourself even more to the energy of the jinn. So, listen to me carefully. Draw the seal you'll see on the screen, anoint it with blood, and burn it immediately. Now, after you've finished following the instructions, exactly as I said, we will discuss together two things. We will discuss the meaning and the impact on the seal, and how burning of the seal influences you. Now, this seal is known in Islamic magical literature as the seal of the Dajjal. That's my own version of the seal. By burning this seal and anointing it with blood and then burning it, you release the power of the jinn upon this world, and you also open up your third eye. The burning of this seal infuses your aura with a smokeless fire, which is the energy of the jinn. It is the energy jinn are comprised of. More you burn this seal, and more you work with this seal, and more you work with jinns, strongest experiences you will have. More smokeless fire you have in your aura, easier will be for the jinns to contact you, communicate with you, talk to you, and work with you. Having a lot of smokeless fire in your aura, through burning of the seal, also makes jinn more comfortable in your presence. And I can swear on my own head that majority of people who turned on this video didn't chant it together with me until the end, didn't burn the seal before started chanting, and didn't burn the seal after they started chanting. Majority of people who turned on this video didn't invested the effort to do this exercise once, let alone do it on a daily basis in order to open up astral senses. There is no magical wand which can open up your psychic abilities. Your psychic abilities are open through your own dedication and devotion to opening of psychic abilities. Your psychic abilities are open through practicing and doing daily exercises to open up your psychic abilities. If you don't work on your third eye and other energy centers responsible for psychic abilities, they will of course be weak. A lot of people practice ritual once or a few times, and then they ask themselves why they didn't feel anything. The reason they didn't feel anything is because they didn't invested any effort in opening up their psychic abilities. They didn't did any research in order to obtain necessary information they need to open up their psychic abilities. I worked with spirits for 2.5 years. Or to be honest with you, for 3 years. And I worked on opening of my astral senses almost daily for a large period of that time, before I started hearing spirits. And then, bunch of times, I heard people who did few rituals badly, and then they ask me, why you said rituals work, but I didn't felt anything. The reason you didn't feel anything
is because you didn't invest any effort in development of your psychic abilities. Also, a lot of people ask me to perform a ritual for them to open their psychic abilities. I will be honest with you. I can perform a ritual for you. It will improve your psychic abilities. But in order for your psychic abilities to truly be open, you need to invest your own effort into your own practice in order to truly be able to communicate with spirits yourself. I personally paid another magician to open up psychic abilities, and in 10 days of dedicated work, I had much bigger effect on my psychic abilities than I had from the ritual of that magician. So, if you want to develop psychic abilities, you need to do the work yourself. I instructed you how to do the exercise. You just need to burn the seal on the screen before you start chanting. Anoint it with blood and burn it. Chant for a time until you cannot chant anymore. And then draw the seal again, anoint it with blood again, and burn it again. This is really simple and really powerful exercise. So, thanks for watching, and see you next time.